Well, time to get down and dirty on silver again. And we had an extremely good day today, Friday, August 31st, 2012. But that is really because of a simple reason. And it really has a lot to do with Ben Bernanke more than anything versus fundamentals or mining or anything else. And I know the fundamentals are going to come into play, but if you're going to be moving in and out of the markets, beware of listening to the overexuberance of silver bloggers. Anyway, yeah, I'm always going to probably put a Harley Davidson motorcycle up here with the girl because this is the way to travel. You know, two good rides. So in the future here, I think we're going to be having some serious gasoline high prices, energy prices, two things that are actually going to be weighting very heavily on the middle class and average people is going to be energy cost and food cost. And I think the only way around that is to go with either cheaper transportation, could be a motorcycle maybe, but a lot of people just can't buy a hybrid for $20,000, $30,000, which I wouldn't do that anyway. You'd be an idiot to do that. If you had $20,000, $30,000, even if you had $200,000, $300,000 laying around, you're better off taking that $20,000, $30,000, buying silver, than buying yourself a whole. If you need a car and you can't use a motorcycle, get an old Honda Civic, a diesel Jetta 1.6, and fix it up for a few $1,000s, and use that just as economical, no complications, no loss of value. The as far as like what happened today, it was basically due to Ben Bernanke's announcement. Now, I also saw Marc Faber talking again on Bloomberg, Doomberg, whatever you want to call it, and you know, it's this guy I like a great deal because he's very down to earth, very honest. He's not BS like you might get some of this. I call them a silver pump and dumpers. Maybe that's being too mean, but hey, you know, I really think they deserve that title. But you know, in the case of Marc Faber, you know, silver pump and dumpers, boy, they know silver's going to go right through the roof, and if it doesn't, it's the bankster's fault. But in the case of Marc Faber, the guy that made all these billions on his own by going where other people didn't go, he honestly states he's not sure. He's not sure. That's why he's splitting his bet. But he is over 25% invested in physical gold. It's in different countries. It's in different safe deposit boxes. And, you know, that's a true bet. Even George Soros is into gold, even though he's got GLD. Now, I want to point out something about exuberance, too. Actually, Warren Buffett even points this out. He says your two biggest enemies are excitement and expenses. Excitement being you're exuberant, so you make rash decisions. You turn it into a shoot from the hip speculator versus an investor. And even George Soros says, you know, investing is boring. And when you're getting too excited, you're probably losing money or you're about to lose money. So they learned this from experience. So, you know, when you get all these silver people out there just saying, oh, silver's going up. Oh, see, I told you. Well, it's a lot of things are going up. I know silver did better than everything else today. You know, if you look, it did over 4.25%. Even palladium didn't even do 2% today. Oil went up about 2%, roughly, almost. And it's really because of Ben Bernanke's announcement. So what did he say? Basically, in this short synopsis, basically, he stopped short of signaling an extra monetary easing. Was coming up very closely, but he kept the door open. So he's like saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to." He's not going to state that we're going to do it, but he's hinting at it. He's hinting at it. So the market took it as such, and it went up quite a bit. So that's really what happened in a nutshell. Now, two interesting things. You know, Marc Faber talks about 100% chance of a major slowdown within 6 to 9 months. And when he was questioned again, he says, well, it's a 98 to 100% chance. Well, those are pretty damn good odds. So, you know, let's just put it as like this, a what-if scenario. Let's say silver goes up to $60 in short order. Well, let's assume Marc Faber is correct and say silver goes up to $60 within 4 months. Probably be smart to sell off some because whatever the heck he's saying there, I don't know if he's going to be 100% right, but maybe that's going to be the pullback time. You know, maybe that's going to be the pullback time. Around March to June of 2013 is when he's saying there's going to be a major slowdown is going to already be hitting. And you know, if you look at the real estate market, boy, there was a lot of people then back in 2007 that didn't want to believe the market was going to crash even further and further and further. They thought, oh, it's going to snap back. Oh, it's the bottom now. Man, they were wrong. You know, people were buying properties in 2008 thinking they got a steal. Boy, they were wrong. So, like, just pretty much every time people see a slowdown, they just want to hit the denial button. And, you know, maybe there is a slowdown. So what they're going to do, and Marc Faber reads Ben Bernanke right. And actually, Ben Bernanke, he says, looks like a hawk compared to some people. Like, there's the Boston Federal Reserve chairman. He's like even worse than Ben Bernanke as far as being a money guy that's going to dump it out of a helicopter. So, you know, in the case of Marc Faber, he's giving you a good straight scoop as to reading personalities. And that's more important than anything almost in market sentiment. I agree with the charts, especially like when you're talking Fibonacci. Fibonacci seems to obey the laws of nature, and somehow the whole stupid thing works out in the market. It does. I don't know how, but it does. Fibonacci's like a law that's just exists in every damn thing there is, and it exists in the markets. So, you know, for instance, you know, say silver goes up to 60 or 70 or some crap like that, you know, I am going to start selling physical then for sure. And I'm going to wait for a pullback. And I've been saying this all along, but you know, I'm going to try to give some more solid advice as to what people can do going moving in and out of the market. And what right now I'm not selling any silver. I mean, even though I'm a little bit ahead, even on the brokerage accounts and all that, I'm not selling nothing. I'm not selling nothing. I figure, and I'm not going long on leverage unless I see something volatility, like it goes up hard, then it hits down hard. After it hits down hard, you know, it's never going to go up in a straight line. It's going to have a lot of bounces, even when it does before it does the major correction. So I want to try to pick a better entry point. But right now, at least it's kind of moving up and down. Like before, it was staying flat for quite a while, and that sucked. You just don't know what the hell it's going to do. Is it going to go further down? Is it going to go to 24, 25? Or is it going to go back up like it is now? So I could personally see it going up to 34, 35 and then going to 30 again. You know, if it does something like that, if it went for 34, 35 and went down to 30, then I'd probably buy leverage on 30. Then sell it as soon as I got a gain. That's the brokerage accounts. Physical, you know. And you know, there's another thing coming up. I always talk about this, the war with Iran. I'm trying to be fast. But there's two contingencies, basically. You know, we don't know which way the election's going to go, and actually this is going to actually be contingent upon when the war starts. Probably. Although anything can happen at any time. You know, the war actually was planned to start during the Bush administration, but some things got exposed. It was supposed to start in 2007. They were going to set up like fake attacks and all this other garbage, supposedly. But if Obama wins, you know, I remember Israel was saying if Obama wins, or somebody was saying that Israel, if they saw Obama wins, they figured he'd be hard to deal with his second term to get him to attack Iran. You know, I would think since the election's so close, if Obama won the election, there'd be an attack on Iran before the winter. Because they have to do it before the winter, because during the winter time, it's a bad time to do the attack. So, you know, if he wins the election, maybe we'd have the attack in November. You know, now if Romney wins the election, maybe the attack won't occur till spring. So, but when this occurs, gold is going to go way the hell up, oil is going to go way up, then silver's going to start taking off, and silver's going to actually exceed gold and oil gains percentage-wise. If you look historically, that's what happened. It's like bad news and good news. Like the war is bad news, but war makes commodities go up like crazy. Intentions in the Middle East drive up gold, oil, and silver. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. So, you know, if you're trying to time markets, when the hell to get in and out of there and leverage. Now, I also talked about brokerage accounts. If I make some gains on these things, say I freaking doubled my money on brokerage accounts, and guess what? I'm taking that fiat money out and I'm sitting on it. I'm not doing nothing till the sky falls in, basically, because I don't trust brokerage accounts now that MF Global got away with so much crap. because that tells me they can all get away with it, and they're all going to play like stupid. Oh, there was just a collapse. I don't need that shit. So I'm probably, I'm looking to make some money on this stuff, and when I do, it's probably going to go to all the cash, and not just paper cash, but it's going to go to credit union. Probably nothing in brokerage accounts at all. I don't trust that shit. And I'll keep the physical, and I'll sell some of the physical if it gets up to 60 or 70. Because if it gets up to 60 or 70 before they say, springtime, early summer of 2013, and the exuberance is high for 100 from the silver bloggers, I say that's a definite sell signal, because you got to remember Marc Faber's words: 98 to 100% chance of a global slowdown severely in earlier 2013. So if silver's going up and we have this big slowdown, hey, guess what? Sell it. That'll be your major pullback. But I mean, it ain't going down to 26 anymore. I mean, maybe they'll go to 70 and go below into the 40s. That'll be hell going into the 40s, right? Anyway, but like I said, I'm going to try to give some more solid advice, but on timing the markets. But it is difficult because I got to consider a bunch of, if this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do this. And the other major rules, both from Soros and Buffett. You think they're bad guys, but they're giving you some good advice. Excitement is your worst enemy with this stuff. That'll screw you up on trading. Excitement. All right? So try to give you some good solid advice, because sometimes the simple things count more than the complicated bullshit, believe me.